Coming up on the next episode. Good Tuesday morning to you all, YouTube. It is 11:12 now in the AM. I am, seems like a mostly sunny day out there, just looking out the window. What you see on the bench in front of you is the, I'm going to call this the test unit. This is the unit we will be sending to Bill, Old 64 Goat, for testing with his radio, his Zenith radio that you guys may recall he has been working on. And just getting you to take a look at it and see, you'll see some holes that, some holes under here. That is for mounting. I came up with this, whatever, kind of in a, I don't know exactly when it happened, but I just thought that, you know, something like this mounted with this, and this is pretty darn easy to get through here. It goes through here, slides pretty easy. Now, you have to basically take it up a little bit like that, come back through there, and feed it on through. But now once you get it through there, you can see this thing feeds really nice through there. I've got these angled, these holes or slots, however you want to call them. They're angled, that one's angled that way and that one's angled that way. And that way everything works out really nice on that. Now you could do the same thing with these if you want. In fact, you could use two cable ties if you wanted to go both ways and really get it secure in there. This is just a test unit, and you can see here on this side I have it marked speaker side, and that's the one that will actually go down onto the onto the speaker. And for this, the speaker is here, and we want to mount it where this is going to be up. Our transformer will be mounted up here on this platform, and it will be able to interact with these terminals. So this is how easy that slides on. As you can see, slides on very easily, and of course it does turn now, but there will be a screw and washer and nut on that, and that will allow it to be tightened up, and I will demonstrate that too, so hang on for that. But that's the way it's going to be mounted on there. And like I say, even before that happens, I sent a video to Bill already, and to Brendan and Bob. I wanted them to see this as well, on how to do this. And my suggestion was to basically take this, mount the transformer into it, keeping in mind which side goes where and which way the wires go, things like that. And once you get this good and tightened up, you know, like around that, I'll put this up here so you get a little image of it. But basically like this, and this will come up here, and like I say, it will attach that way, basically like that. And that's, you know, all we're interested in is a test of this, because what we want to do is find out the heat soaking ability of this plastic, because Bill said that audio output in his radio gets pretty hot, and I was giving him the specific temperatures that the plastic melts with, things like that, from the 3D printer, and I think it's around 350, somewhere around in there, Fahrenheit, that this becomes basically molten plastic. And so he seems to think it will survive that. Now, I don't know. We'll see. That's why I'm doing this. And I asked him to basically get this all set up, attached to the radio, put it back into the chassis, and install the chassis into the cabinet, at least well enough to where it's inside the cabinet, and do about an hour test on it. Of course, you know, monitoring on all the way, because we don't want to catch on fire if this did start melting. I don't think it would, but like I said, just keep an eye on it and see what happens. So that's what we're at with this little project. And again, let me get this nut on here. Let me get it mounted on the speaker, and then I'll show you. All right, well, there you can see the platform is mounted on the speaker, and I did give Bill instructions not to tighten this up too tight. Basically, we're just interested in where it doesn't turn easily on the speaker magnet, and as you can see, that's probably as tight as you ever want to take it right there. So basically, again, that's going to fit up there like that. This will sit here and go around here and attach that way. Again, my transformer is a little bit bigger than the actual output transformer, so you know there's that. But you can basically see how it's going to sit like that, and that's going to be our test unit. Hopefully this will work. If it does, I might consider going further with this project and maybe trying to provide this to somebody else that needs one. So like I said, it was I thought a good way of replacing the original speakers with the mounted transformer in these types of radios, and there are quite a few of these. Anybody that's worked with AA5 radios will know that this is often the way it's set up, with the output transformer mounted directly onto the speaker magnet. So like I said, if you need to replace a speaker in there, this is one possibility. Again, you know, a lot of people will just take it and try to repair the cones best they can or whatever. That's up to them. But this is one alternative way of doing it if you need it. So again, I enjoy doing this because I get to design these, and at first glance that may look a little bit complicated to design, but I'm here to tell you it wasn't in Tinkercad. And I think for the second part of this video, what we're going to do is sit down at the computer and basically go through all of the steps it takes, or it took, I should say, to design this particular unit. And we can go through real quick, and I'll hopefully keep it quick, but you can see just how simple it is to work with these. Now, all you have to remember, these are all shapes. Everything in here is a shape. This is a circle, obviously. Spear, whatever you want to call it, or not spear, but a cylinder. That would be more accurate, I guess. This is a square, a rectangular box, whatever. And these are triangles. So, you know, all of this stuff they're just shapes. And that's really makes up the whole content of anything that you want to print in Tinkercad. I mean, that's all you have to do is combine them. And, you know, of course, you know, the printer itself will automatically do the mesh of it as far as that's concerned. And that's another thing I mentioned to Bill, that this is only a 20% infill. And what that means is that even though the top of this, and if you press on it here, it feels solid, but actually what's going on, there's a layer of plastic. Actually, the way the printer does it, it goes back and forth like this, goes across like that. Then the next pass, it'll go like this, across like this, so they're like interwoven across. And it may do 4 rows of plastic before it starts infilling. And by infilling, I mean it will go do just certain lines here, certain lines there, certain lines, and it does like a support type of infill that keeps the shape, but yet that's not solid plastic in there. So that's the way that works. And that does the same thing for this part as well. This is, you know, mostly infill in here. And I explained to him that this was infill as well, and that these will eventually break if left like that. But the final unit that I ship to Bill, as far as the one, if the test goes well, like I hope it will be a 70% infill. Bob seems to think that, and Bob and Brendan have both been helping me with this, and like I say, Bob seems to think 70% would be optimal for this design, and I'm going to try it and see. But and I think these these holes here, I think, are going to stay. I think this is a pretty good way of mounting any transformer on there. Obviously, you can bend these as however you want them. And like I said, if you want more support, you can always go with a second one around here and get that thing in there pretty darn secure to where it won't come apart. So that's the plan on that. And like I say, that's what we're going to do. Now, like I say, on this next part of the video, I'm going to take you into the computer and we're going to go over the steps needed to design this. And like I say, it should be an interesting video, I hope. Also, it should serve the purpose to explain a little bit more about how to design things in Tinkercad for 3D printing. And you should be able to pretty well know that anything is possible with a 3D printer as far as what you come up with to print and how you can use this in your electronics or any hobby for that matter to print and design and print, I should say, things that will help you in your hobby. So, all right, let's go into the living room and see what we got in there and check it out. I'm back with you once again, YouTube, on the computer as promised. You may be able to see the time there, 1:13 in the afternoon now. I had some problems doing this the first time I did it and decided to redo it completely because it didn't turn out the way I wanted. You guys know how that is. The main problem is I did all this yesterday and I have no memory at all. I can't remember every detail on the dimensions and things like that, so I basically had to kind of re-go over it and redo it and some other stuff. So where we're going to start out when we look at this is actually I'm going to have all the pieces of the puzzle on the work plane, and we're going to take a look at each one individually and show how I came up with it, and then we'll put it all together and see what it looks like. Let's go into Tinkercad. As promised, there you go. There's all. Obviously, this is the assembled one here. Kind of sitting off the side there, but that's what it looks like when it's done. And these are all pieces I used to make that puzzle come up, or to get put together. And what I'd like to do is show you how I did it, the steps I took as far as the order of them and things like that. Now, anytime you see these little transparent cubes and circles, cylinders, whatever, these are the eraser, basically, for the solid. In other words, if we combine this one with this one, we're going to get a hole of that size in the middle of this one when we align it, which I'm going to show you how to do. So that's the purpose of those. Now, you can design them in the solid and then turn them into a transparency or eraser, whatever you... I don't know what they use for these names on these. It just says box. It doesn't say what it is, though. But anyway, so that's what it is, and you will see how that works in this example as well. So let me get started here. We're going to do this this round part here first. This is the main part that attaches to the speaker magnet. Now, I did some careful calculations. I laugh at that because I just use a little 6-inch rule which is marked in millimeters and inches, and I came up with 22. Now, I did 22. The 22 was tight, and it actually opened up this gap a little bit. So what I did was 23, and then it was too loose. So I settled on 22.5, which is what this is, as you can see. Well, it will be when it's done. 30.5 is the final thing, so let's check this one. This is 22.5. There you go, 22.5 each direction. It's a perfect circle. So now to add, I wanted this thing about 4 millimeters thick all around. So that's 4 millimeters on each side of the diameter. So that's another 8 inches. I'm sorry, I said inches, millimeters. So it came up to 30.5 is what it came up to be. And there you go, 30.5. So that when these two are combined, and this is perfectly in the middle, which it's going to be when we get it over here. Now you can see it's not in the middle right there, and we're going to show you how to align it, because that's the fun part about this, is aligning thing. Let's just get it off way off balance there. What we do is select it. Now to select something, you basically hold the mouse button down and drag the rectangular over the objects that you want to select. So in this case, we've selected the solid and the eraser part here, and we have both of them selected now. So we're going to go up here to the alignment tool. As you'll see, it says align. Click on that, and when we do that, you can see what it does. It brings up alignment points for the objects, and if we click on the middle one, that will put whichever direction it is in the middle, and you will see it moved over to the middle. Now to align it the other way, we'll go to the other axis and align it there. Now that is perfectly aligned. That's where we want it. Now you'll notice that the eraser part of that sticks up above that. That's not a problem, because anywhere that eraser is, there's just nothing there. So how do we actually make the hole? Because right now, if we move anything around, it's just going to move the separate pieces. To do that, you use the group tool, and I'm going to show you again. Select it, both objects, and I have those selected. And up here is the group tool. Group. Now if I click that, hey, the eraser part is gone, and it took along with it the solid part of the cylinder, and now we have this hole of 22.5 millimeters and the outside dimensions of 30.5. So that gives us 4 millimeters on each side, on all sides. Actually, this is 4 millimeters thick, and that's what we want. So that's how you make the basic circle for that right there, and that's exactly what we did. Now the next part of this that we're going to do is this part here, the screw clamp part of it, where the screw goes through. And I've already got the dimensions of this. This is 15 millimeters from one end to the other, is how long it is. It is 10 millimeters across the diameter, and that's what this is. If we look at it, there's our 15 millimeters, and there's our 10 for the outside of it. The hole that goes inside of it is 5 millimeters, and if we look at that, we have 5 millimeters. And we're going to do exactly the same thing to this one we did on the bigger circle. We're going to take and combine them like this. We're going to select them first, and then we're going to put our alignment tool on this, and you can see there's our middle one. We want it in the middle, and there's our other middle. We want it in the middle, and then we've got that. When you've got the alignment, they gray out. You can see that, I think. And then we're going to group them. Now we have our object that we need. And there you go. That's as simple as that is how that is done. Now, I wanted to show how simple this is to work with, because all of these are just basic designs, shapes, whatever you want to call it. And it's just a matter of setting up the shape and putting it together, and that's all you really have to do. So now, obviously this goes this way, and this is going this way, up and down. So what we do is we'll click on this, and you can see this arrow here. You can see the degree marker, and we want that at 90 degrees to go, horizontal. So we'll do that, and you can see it did flip, and it is off of the ground a little bit, work plane. It's up above the work plane, but that's okay, because we're gonna fix that in the next step. So what we're going to do is drag this down here to intersect with this. Now it doesn't matter where you put it, because we've got alignment tools. I kind of like to get it. You can see if we look through, it's got part of the circle there, and even if you, it doesn't look like, it's got a little bit of a hump there that's come through, so we don't want that quite that much, so we want to move this up a little bit. Let's see about right there. See if we got our, a little bit won't hurt, because we'll fix that in the next step. But that's okay, just where it's at right there. If we wanted to, we could take it up a little bit more, but I think that's fine just where it's at. We're going to leave it there. What we're going to do now is align it. Again, select it, as we've done. Well, I didn't get it selected. There we go. Now align it. there's our little, what do you call it? This time the only thing we're going to use is the center here to get it in the position we want it in. It is there now, and that's where we want it at. Now, sometimes I'll move them around a little bit after I center them, but you can recenter them. It's not a big deal. I'm going to come down just a hair more. And I've got it in the wrong mode. Oops, I went too much. Now let's look through this and see. Yeah, you can see just a little bit there of that. It's showing a little bit. In fact, that's a little bit too much. I think we're going to take it, go up just a hair more. Right there. Now let's see what we got. Yeah, I think we can see through that. All right, that may be exactly the same place. I don't know. But we're going to realign it because I did move it around a little bit, and I don't know if I got it. No, it's still aligned. So you can see right there, it's grayed out. Anytime that's grayed out, that means it's aligned. So it's not a problem. So now, how do we combine these? Again, the grouping tool. If these are two solids, it will group them together and make them as one. And so we'll select it, group it, and there we go. Now that is one solid piece. So when it prints there won't be any difference in it. This is all going to be the same, part. Now, to get the gap in there that we want, that's a 3mm gap, and this happens to be a 3mm eraser. So what we're going to do is put that 3mm eraser over here. Again, it doesn't matter if it's too big, as long as it's 3mm between where you want, and the fact that it's going to cut out all the parts that we need to cut out there. And again, I think that's going to be pretty much in the center. Let's check it and see. Like I said, sometimes you get lucky and you get it right in the center. Oh, not quite perfect, but let's make it perfect. There you go. Now it's in the center perfectly. And one of the other things that I forgot to do the last time I did this, you may notice that it looks pretty close there on this being in the center of this larger circle. But let's see for sure. Let's make sure it is. And I haven't used this yet, but I'm going to. I done messed up. Well, I did the same thing again I did last time. But we're going to leave it like it is because basically what you wanted to do when you align this is get the up and down. But I've got it right in the center. It's not a problem. So let's just go with that. I see we've got it selected. We're going to group it. And there you go. That gives us that's in the center. Sometimes it works out that way. That's fine. But like I said, it gives us our gap for our clamp. And that now is matching that pretty well. And I'm happy with the way that looks. Next thing we're going to do is put the platform on, the flat platform here that you can see. Now this I've already created because I had to go back and redo it myself because I couldn't remember. Like I said, I did this yesterday and I don't remember every exact measurement that I did and stuff like that. But this gets it close enough to where it will work. And what we want to do is bring this down here, and we're going to line these two up now to put that platform on top like this is. So let's do that real quick. Let's turn this around a little bit. Let's turn around this way because this is work plane. Yeah. Let's select both of them. See, now right now I've selected this, and we don't want that in there. If we leave that in there, it's going to mess up our alignment. So let's click off of that and go in here and align these two. Now we've got just those two, and that should be working out better, I think. Alignments, yeah. The way we're going to align this time is this part here is going to be aligned, and we want the center as well, so we're going to click on this in the center to do it just like that. There you go. That's how we want to do it, right there. So that's what that's going to look like, and let's click off that and align it again, or not align it, but group it. Now sometimes this will turn colors, and you just see it did. It's easy enough to change it back to the color that you want it. You just click on the object, go over here to our solid piece, and it brings up our colors. And there you go. Clicked it right on that, and that's what we did. So there you go. That's basically what we've got there. Now it's a little bit different, but like I said, we're not going to worry about it because it's good enough as it is. And like I say, for our demonstration purposes is all we wanted to show you how to do this. So now you can see the only thing left on this part to do is the triangular gussets here that we used. Now I don't know that I've got these perfectly where I need to be as far as measurements, because again I forgot completely on how far that up that was. So what we're going to do is move one over here like this, and we're just going to leave it like that for right now. And we're going to take and select both of those objects like that, use our alignment tool, and we're going to bring it up here even with the top, and we're going to bring it even with the back like that. And then we're going to look at this. Now that just happened to be perfect, and I don't know how that happened, but it is that, because there's no alignments that you can do on that. You can't use the alignment tool. You just have to eyeball it, and we can even go in a little bit on it if you want. And there might be a little bit that we're out, but again, I don't want anything in the middle of this, so if we move it over that way, it's possible that some of this might be in the middle, and I don't really want that to happen. And we're going to do the same for the other side. Well, let's get these joined. Let's join first, because if I start realigning this, it's going to mess it up. So let's join these together, group them, and you can see again the same thing happens. Sometimes that happens, and I don't know why it does that. That's just the way Tinkercad is sometimes, but there you go. It's easy enough to change it right back. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to put it over here near our alignment points, and we're going to go for alignments like so. You may notice I'm not selecting the whole thing. I'm just making sure that the selection frame itself has got this part and this part inside of it. And as long as that happens, you'll be okay. So there's our front alignment. We want that. We want our top alignment like that. That gets us up where we want to be. Now let's look at. Now you can see this time it's going to have to be moved over. No question about it. So excuse me. So what we're going to have to do is move this over this way, and I'm going to have to realign it. I can see that already, but that's okay. I think that's pretty much what we want. Now you can see there's nothing showing in the middle. It would show green if it was. Nothing showing on that one. So let's realign this thing again, and all you have to do is make sure they're both aligned, or both in it, and they are. So we want to come here. Let's see, I think I use this one. I'll make sure I use the same one. There we go. I think that does it, and that's got them both aligned exactly the same, and they are now. Again, I'll double check it. Yep. It's hard to see because of them shapes are in the middle of everything there. Yep, that one's aligned. I was trying to look at that one. That one's aligned, that one's aligned. Everything is aligned like it should be. So we're going to reselect it and group it like it is. Again, did the same thing. Green must be a predominant color, I guess. That's the only thing I can figure. Go back to our color that I like, and that's the way that works. So there you go. There's the basic. Drag it over here and look at it a little bit. But that's the basic thing right there. All except for the holes for the cable ties is what I didn't put in yet. But like I said, that's how easy this is to do. You can see it's pretty much an exact copy. It might be off a hair on the triangular thing, because I didn't use triangles for this one. I used a square box, and then I used a eraser at a certain angle to make the triangles instead of just using the right triangle. I don't know why I didn't use the triangles, but I didn't. It's easier to do. And this is the long one. We want to use this one to make our holes here for this. And yeah, I kind of messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. Let's go back over here. We're not going to be able to use our alignment tool for this. We're going to have to do just look at it and see. You can see there that it's pretty close, but it's not perfect. Let's go in there just a hair like that. That's pretty much where we want them at right there, I think. Well, no, take that back. That one's up higher. Let's go up higher with it. To do that, what we do is select that. You can see our up arrow will go up, move it up to say right there. Yeah, that's good right there. And we can look and see that that goes all the way through both sides. So that's all we really need to do is that. And that will give us our holes for the cable ties going this way. So what we want to do is group those. We make sure we got both of the things in there. We did. There you go. That's all you have to do for that. There's the holes, matching those holes over there. Pretty easy to do. Now for this one, what we're going to do is flip this. Let's get back a little bit so we can see what we're doing. We're going to flip this over 90 degrees. Now for some reason, I think this comes out pretty much right flat on the work plane. Whoops. I kind of wanted to show you this another tool anyway, so in case this happens, you can either go back and use the select or the angle tool and put in 180, which would flip it over, or you can use these tools, which are the mirror tools. And you can see this one mirrors it up and down, and that's all you have to do. There you go. Now let's double check, make sure that is flat on the, and we want it to be flat, so there, yep, 0. That's flat. So I thought that's the way it was going to work. So now to get these holes in like this, one goes this way, the other one goes this way, and that's what we want. So this one here is going to come over here and go this way. First thing before we're going to do that is going to make these down lower so they go through. We want to make sure they go through the whole thing. So let's put them down about 2 millimeters down. That's good enough, I think. Or let's make them 3 just to be on the safe side. Alright, there you go. 3 down. That should make them fine. We'll do the same thing with this one. Oops, that went a little extra. Don't really want extra. Now we can use the alignment tool on this one a little bit, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We can put this over here. You can see where the spot is on the is where that hole is going to be. Now if we look down here, we see that's going to come through there, so we need to come over this way a little bit more with the thing. We don't want it coming through there. We want it coming through the bottom. There you go, right there. And you can see there, now that's where we want it at. And I think I've got that backwards already. In fact, I know I do. That's the one that goes in the back. So let's go back to the back with that. So that's a good spot for it right there. And that'll work good, I think. I want to make sure I got this right. Yeah, that's how it goes. Just like that. All right. So what we want to do now is, now that we've got that, we want to put it in the center. We can do the alignment tool for that. We can get it in the center. So we know where we got it is where we want it. It's in the center, so we can group it. And we'll have our hole for the cable tie on the back. Bottom, whatever you want to call that. And the same thing with the front. Same exact thing. We just want to make sure that it goes through as close to the edge as you can get it. Again, we'll align it. This align in the middle, and there you go. That's where you want it. You want to take it, select it, group it, and by gosh, there you go. There's a pretty close. And by the way, this is how I printed this, just in this position, in case you were wondering, because it does make a difference how you print these things. If there's going to be a flat spot, which sometimes happens when you print something on the work plane itself, it creates a edge or around that, and that edge there wouldn't bother me a bit. But when you put it on the bottom like this one is, then you have to go through and kind of round that off, because there's an edge on the inside too, and that was creating a problem. So if you print it this way, it works much better, I think. So there you go. There's your. I know they're upside down compared to each other, but that doesn't matter. They're the same exact thing, and that's how you want it to go. And that's going to look good. That's going to work good, and I'm happy with the way that turned out. And again, that's how you would do that. So I hope that's helped you a little bit. See how easy this stuff is to work with. Those shapes again that I started with are basic shapes. And other than this one, I had to cut out some of it to make it work the way I wanted it to work. Again, you just use the eraser part you know, make it any shape you want, or any dimension, I should say, any dimension that you want, and that's all you have to do, and that's really all there is to it. So again, this would print just like I say this way, and it would print out how you saw in the first part of this, how it printed out. So it worked out pretty good. Very happy with the way it turned out, and I'm very happy with Tinkercad in general and the 3D printer. And I'm really enjoying it. I love playing with this stuff. It's just so much fun designing this stuff to me. I compared it to a Rector set when I was a kid, and it's a lot like that, because you can build things with it, and it's great. So, all right, that's going to do me. We'll go back to the other video now, and we'll finish this out. All right, well, now you have seen the little tutorial, or whatever you want to call it, on how to design this bracket in Tinkercad. And you can see, really, basically the steps are not that complex or complicated. And again, if you start with this circular cylinder, or whatever you want to call it, you know, obviously this wasn't included in that, just this part. And then we can go with circles and cylinders type like things to get this on here. And this one was the next to design and put where we wanted to put it. And then the last part was these little triangular shaped supports, gussets, whatever you want to call them. And you can see how all this stuff is easy to line up using the alignment tool in Tinkercad. And again, that's just how easy it is. Now, the slots for the cable ties were made by a cylinder type of transparency. For lack of a better term, I don't know exactly which term I used in the tutorial, but basically wherever you put a transparency at is it's going to take away the solid part of the plastic. So anyway, that it was easy enough to design at a 45-degree angle and put those in there like that, and it's just pretty darn easy in Tinkercad. That's all I can tell you. So. Alright, that's going to do me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like I say, I'll be getting this shipped out to Bill very soon, hopefully. I'm not the best when it comes to shipping things. I'm trying to come up with a envelope type thing to where I don't have to go into the post office and deliver this. I can use pirate ship for the label and pay the postage, and then put this into a padded type envelope with maybe a little plastic or a box of some sort to hold it, and send that to Bill. And like I said, he can do with it what he wants. Like I said, I did give him a video and try to outline how I thought it should be. Of course, it's his radio, his whole project. So again, I just think this is an easy way of doing it. So you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see ya.